Hello, my name is James Moore and this is a presentation for the 2018 DePaul Teaching and Learning Conference. The presentation's in two parts. The first is the mini studio, the second is video best practices. And just like the Oscars, I'd like to thank my colleagues at DePaul University for their assistance, guidance and suggestions. That's Theophilus Jamal, Josh Lund and Rick Salisbury, now at Northwestern University. So this is how I roll. I will talk fast as if chased by the devil. So my name is James Moore, and here are my contact information at DePaul University. You can also find me by searching for James Moore and DePaul on search engines like Google. An easy way to remember my name is to take the James from James Bond and the Moore from Roger Moore. So we planned the mini studio with this scenario in mind. It's Monday morning, and the telephone rings. A near frantic finance professor is on the line and tells me, "Help! I'm teaching 3 sections of Finance 798 this quarter, but my father is very ill. I will be flying out to Australia tomorrow morning. There is nobody else who can teach this class. Is there any way we can film my lecture content?" My view is that if you can comfortably deal with the emergencies, then you can handle anything that comes your way. Now, filming a professor in a traditional classroom to deal with this type of emergency would be doing a disservice to the students, professor, and institution. Lugging equipment to a classroom is a waste of resources. Filming in the classroom introduces too many opportunities for things to go wrong. Imperfect sound, interruptions, awful lighting, the equipment breaks, etc. The ideal solution is a studio where the professor can walk in, record superlative material, and then walk out ready to do battle with the day. So our aim was to have a video ready for faculty the day of recording. Having limited resources, we did not spend the money sight unseen. We iterated our choices and experimented with borrowed equipment and limited trials. Not the actual room that we used, but this conveys the right impression. And then there's the basic equipment. So the mini studio comprises a Mac Pro with a Wacom Cintiq. There is a webcam, a backdrop, professional lighting, and an adjustable height desk. Here you can see the conceptual model for the room. And in the room, the presenter sees 2 screens. One is the Wacom Cintiq, where the presenter has full access to controls and tools. And this is where they annotate content. The second screen is a conventional monitor. Content is projected here in an abstracted view where the controls and interface are hidden. This is what we record. A simple webcam is used to record the presenter. We went with a 4K model to provide more opportunity for editing or cropping the webcam video if our presenter has moved to one side of the frame. The room is professionally lit with a backdrop held up by curtain rods. This is a standard size, and we can replace this with a green screen background if required. The microphone in the room is a Snowball with pop filter and shock mount. We use baffles in the room to improve sound quality. We use traditional 2-part lighting system with key light, fill light, and the presenter in the middle. An adjustable height desk allows us to make the environment comfortable for any height of presenter and also promotes the concept of standing to present rather than sitting, which compresses the diaphragm. We briefly run through the tools that we want faculty to use in OpenSankori as they record. OpenSankori has a plethora of tools, but the ones that we want to be used are these ones. The pen is used to write on the screen in a choice of 3 thicknesses and 4 colors. The analogy that worked with our faculty was that this was just like writing on acetate transparencies on an overhead projector. The eraser was used to clear away or tidy annotations. 3 sizes of eraser are available. The highlighter is similar to the pen in that there are choices of 4 colors and 3 thicknesses of virtual nib. Undo and redo allows us to go back a stage or go back forward. Pages allows us to insert a blank page on the screen. Previous and next move us through the presentation material, and Erase gets rid of everything that's on the screen. We've been using the Mini Studio to record material for classes here at DePaul for several months now, and we've learned much from the process. There are some key learning experiences to share. The importance of backups. We updated our Mac Pro to OS X Yosemite and soon learned that OpenSankori was not compatible, crashing immediately when we ran it. We were able to overcome this issue by rolling back to an earlier version of OS X, although we could have used OpenBoard, a forked version of OpenSankori that runs on Yosemite. Having regular backups of the operating system allows for a more rapid recovery in these instances. Redundancy. When recording, we save the ScreenFlow files directly to the Mac Pro's hard drive, but then move these to external media, RAID, for editing. The levels of redundancy protected us from very rare instances where something very horrible might happen. Human intervention. Our process involved faculty recording in a private room with a staff member on hand in an adjacent area. That staff member would be at their desk working on video projects, but was available to be interrupted and to assist faculty. We dumbed down the recording process such that the staff member started and ended each recording session. While sounding trivial, this greatly reduced the number of accidents, forgetting to record or exiting ScreenFlow without saving, and provided faculty with the perfect balance of privacy and knowledge that help was on hand. Scheduling. At DePaul, we're lucky to have a unified communication system, Outlook, which we use to schedule the studio. This also allowed faculty to check availability outside normal office hours via a busy search. When booking the room, we learned to follow the practice employed by dentists everywhere of a courtesy call a day beforehand, along with a reminder email that gave detailed instructions on the filming process and how to find the studio. This resulted in fewer cancellations and delayed arrivals. Quick rather than perfect. The suggestion that we gave our faculty was that they should talk through the occasional mistake rather than rely on editing to remove imperfections. Students were not interested in perfection, but rather rapid feedback and relevant and timely video content. By simplifying the recording and editing process, we were able to have videos up in our learning management system that day or the next morning. Check inventory. Occasionally, faculty forgetfully walk off with a stylus at the end of the recording session. We quickly inventory the room to make sure nothing goes missing. So here on screen, you can see the items that we purchased, and this information is provided on the website. So this brings us to part 2, video best practices. So let's approach the task in 5 stages: design, recording, editing, distribution, and review. Step 1 is design. Practitioners of online learning realize the value of backward design, understanding how to successfully assist student learning and proficiency at the culmination of a course, and then working backwards to create the necessary activities and content that efficiently bring a student to that point. This is where course and modular learning objectives come in. Educational video should only exist as the best mechanism to help a student fulfill a stated learning objective. And the fundamental purpose of design is a series of critical questions that dictate what later decisions and actions will be made. And the first question for an educator is frequently, why am I doing this? And hopefully, does a video that meets my needs already exist? It can make more sense to use an existing resource that meets the learning need than to waste time creating something that is ultimately superfluous. Additionally, we need to ask whether the video will disadvantage 2 student groups: students with disabilities and students who may not have access to the required technology to comfortably watch video. This knowledge suggests that video should be short and focused, perhaps leading to an activity that consolidates the learning. In terms of how to design the teaching material to be used in video, there's expert guidance in the form of Richard E. Mayer's research. Here, he has 12 principles. The first is coherence, removing unnecessary text, images, and sounds. You can see this in cluttered environments where there's too much to distract the eye. And also in classroom recordings where the nature of the environment provided distraction. Here you can see writing on the chalkboard, students in the audience, and other elements in the room which may distract from the teaching, particularly if things get dull. However, recording in a controlled environment allows you to abstract the vital components of the learning object. Next is signaling. Students learn better if you call attention to important material. And you can do this through outlines, headings, highlighting, arrows and a laser pointer, or using a spotlight. Principle 3 is redundancy. Students learn better from images and narration alone than images, narration, and on-screen text. Research suggests that for many students, reading text on screen takes place at a different speed to hearing the text spoken in the narration. And this is a good reason for subtitles or closed captions to be optional and hidden until required. A possible exception to this may be videos intended for social services like Facebook, where the person playing the video will be most likely keeping the audio muted so as not to alert or annoy those around them. The closed captions will be how this audience understands what's going on in the video. Principle 4 is spatial contiguity. Students learn better when corresponding words and pictures are near each other, which you can see in this example and this one. Principle 5 is temporal contiguity. Students learn better when corresponding words and pictures are presented simultaneously. In his book, Mayer uses the example of words being spoken at the same time that they're illustrated in an animation. Principle 6 is segmenting. Students learn better with user-paced segments than a long video. Obviously, I'm breaking this principle with this far too long video. So where possible, you can chunk your videos into smaller segments. However, avoid numbering them, as you may find that you introduce new videos which cause difficulty in continuing your numbering scheme. Principle 7 is pre-training. Students learn better from multimedia when they've learned the names and characteristics of the main concept already. Mayer's book uses the example of brake shoes and pistons. In your courses, you can use introductions, reviews, and quizzes to reinforce material before watching a video. Here's an example of how pre-training may impact perception. So here, you're asked how many passes do the seam in white make? So this is a negative example of that principle. Principle 8 is modality. Students learn better from graphics and narration than from animation and on-screen text. Principle 9 is personalization. Students learn better when the narration is conversational rather than formal. So you write your scripts to match how you speak. Principle 10 is voice. Students learn better when the narration is human rather than a machine voice. So don't use computer narration, which is harder to understand. Principle 11 is embodiment. Students learn better when there's human gestures, eye contact, and facial expressions, which you can see in this video here. But we have Principle 12, image. Students do not necessarily learn better when the speaker's image is there. So this is why we fade out the speaker's image after introductions. If a speaker is not conveying useful non-verbal information, we don't need to see them. And that's what we do with many other educational videos here. The last part of the design stage is the creation of a script and visual materials with the consideration of how the video will be ultimately shared. So that was design. Then we move on to recording. Recording is where panic sets in. Suddenly you're in the moment and you're going to be recorded for posterity. However, there are techniques and good practices to follow. Firstly, with an educational video, you don't need to be on camera all the time. Richard E. Mayer's research suggests that a constant presence on camera can be a distraction to the student, so only include yourself if your non-verbal communication and presence truly adds value. You want to be yourself, talking in a friendly way in which your passion for the subject matter and teaching is easily apparent. Practicing your script and delivery can help greatly, as does your physical position and posture. You want your diaphragm to be uncompressed and for you to be comfortable, which can be achieved by perching on a stool or standing. If filming yourself via a webcam, the camera should be at your eye level. To look good on camera, you want 3-point lighting and to be wearing solid colors. Eyeglasses can reflect lighting, so are best avoided if possible. Wear professional but comfortable clothes. If you never wear a tie normally, then wearing one on camera will make you uncomfortable. Avoid items of clothing that have fluffy edges, such as mohair sweaters. If you do want to wear a jacket of some kind, again, solid colors are best. Nothing extremely bright, no checks, extreme stripes, or dramatic herringbone patterns. These tend to moir on screen, appear to vibrate. If you choose to wear a tie for your video, again, solid colors are best. The strong stripes can cause problems. For shirts, creamy off-whites or solid colors such as blue or yellow, but not too bright, work best. Avoid large, shiny pieces of jewelry like dangling earrings, necklaces, and bracelets, as these tend to be reflective and shimmer. If you have long hair, you may want to pull it back or tie it up. Longer hair can sometimes interfere with the microphone reception. The quality of your audio is something that is sometimes ignored, but greatly impacts how video is perceived. A decent microphone, properly positioned with pop filter, is key. Record in a quiet location where you will not be disturbed, with your smartphone switched off and colleagues, family members, and pets safely out of the way. Carpets and fabric wall hangings can reduce the background echo, which otherwise could make your voice sound harsh and constrained. When recording with a smartphone, take care to record in landscape rather than portrait mode, as your produced video will work best for your audience in landscape. Gizmodo has great advice here. Step 3 is editing. In general, making your video shorter is going to make it better. However, you probably don't have time, so your prime concern is to efficiently remove dead air and distractions from the video. At this point, you can also work on the metadata that will allow you to better archive, update, or replace your video in the future. The key considerations here are a logical file name for the video, video 1 should be avoided, a meaningful title that students will see, lecture 1 should be avoided, the date of editing, keywords to categorize the video, your name as creator, and a date for review. Step 4 is distribution. When teaching the classroom, we know the environment. We know how students will encounter and interact with the teaching material. Video starts to get a little bit more complicated. Students may be interacting with video on a smartphone, tablet, laptop, desktop computer, VR headset or television. Additionally, their environment could be anywhere. At home, at the gym, in the library, at a coffee shop, or even the traditional classroom. Hopefully you have a degree of knowledge here to inform your decisions, but past a certain point, you no longer have control over how your video can be watched. To aid students with disabilities or different primary languages, you want to provide a transcript and/or subtitles. Generally, subtitles are more beneficial to students with a hearing disability, but preferences can be individual. If you were working from a script, then transcription and subtitling is straightforward. Uploading your recording to YouTube as an unlisted video is a free and relatively easy way to achieve transcription and subtitling if your learning resource tends towards the extemporaneous. YouTube can automatically start to apply speech-to-text processing on your video, but some editing will be required. Your video can be distributed in multiple formats and delivery mechanisms. As mentioned earlier, you will have considered streaming versus downloadable video. Students are more likely to prefer the availability of both mechanisms, as this provides an alternative if one option does not work or internet service is restricted. However, the data shows that streamed video is what the majority of students consume. Additionally, streamed video better provides copyright protection, as well as more data on how the video is watched by students. At the design stage, you would have considered how your video would help a student achieve a learning objective. Thus, you want to provide context when you distribute your video. This can be done via accompanying text that explains the purpose of the video, the learning objective, and the assignment that follows. So step 5 is review. Think you're done after all this? Not by a long shot. Your role as an educator is to assess your ability to help students learn. So you need to assess the impact of your videos. If you're using a learning management system or a video hosting platform, you have the opportunity to view data, and this data can help you understand how, if at all, your videos are being watched. You may see that students exit videos early, which may indicate a need to chunk these videos into shorter segments, as students are leaving due to boredom or to research concepts you've introduced. You may see that students watch the same videos again and again, which could indicate that they don't understand the material. Ideally, you can contact students direct to find out what you need to improve. However, you can automate your data collection by adding surveys and pre- and post-tests to provide a better understanding of effectiveness. If teaching multiple sections of a course, you have the opportunity to run A/B tests to see whether your videos are really improving student learning. Phew, that is it. Here are some references that may be of help. Again, these are on the website. And that website is condor.depaul.edu/jmore/DPUTC2018. Thank you.